but they had other meanings attached to it at the back of the mind, as if you're gone off the track. So Allah says, don't use words of ambiguous import. See, you're using the word Ra'ina, but at the back of your mind you're trying to say something else. So you've gone in their own language to say that you are drifting off, you've gone off the track. Says, don't talk like that. Say unzurna. Don't use words like that. Similarly, words, they change their meaning. The Father in heaven is a beautiful word, but now it has other connotations. In Christendom, they tell us that Jesus is the only begotten Son. Begotten, not made. This is in their catechism. The Roman Catholics, the Anglicans, the Presbyterians, the Lutherans, the Methodists, they all in the catechism, the religious principles that they expound in the churches, teach their children, they say that Jesus is the only begotten Son. Begotten, not made. Don't make a mistake. He's not like Adam. Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. He was made by God. Every dog, pig and donkey was made by God. As such, Allah is the creator, sustainer, evolver. He is Rabbul Alameen. But Jesus is not like that. He was begotten, not made. And if words have any meaning, what does it mean? They are attributing to Allah Bari Ta'ala an animal nature, the lower animal functions of sex. So Allah reacts very strongly in Surah Maryam. He says, وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا, and they say that Ar-Rahman, the merciful God, has begotten a son. Allah says, لَقَدْ جِئْتُمْ شَيْئًا عِدًّا, is one of the most abominable assertion one can make. The worst swearing you can give Allah is this. The worst swearing, you want to swear him? This is the worst thing that you can say. That Allah begot a son. You are attributing to him an animal nature, the lower animal functions of sex. سَتَكَادُ السَّمَاوَاتُ يَتَفَطَّرْنَا مِنْهُ, at it the skies are ready to burst. وَتَنْشَقَّ الْأَرْضُ, and the earth to split asunder. وَتَخِرُّ الْجِبَالُ حَدًّا, and the mountains to fall down in utter ruin. أَنْ دَعَوْا لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدًا, that they should say that Ar-Rahman, the merciful God, has begotten a son. The worst swearing you can give Allah is this. That if the heavens had feelings like you, O Muslims and Muslimah, if the heavens had feeling, emotions like you, to hear such words being uttered, they said the heavens would have fallen. If the earth had feelings like you, it would have split asunder and the mountains fallen down in utter ruin. Such horrible swearing they give Allah Bari Ta'ala. Does it move the Muslim? Not at all. It's not moving anybody. It's an amazing thing, amazing situation. You see, the non-Arab world, the Muslims of the non-Arab world, 90% of the Muslims of the world are non-Arabs. They don't know Arabic. We have been taught the Quran to read parrot fashion. We read it. Sometimes we read far more beautiful than many Arabs, some of our Hafiz and Qaris. But we don't understand a word. So we read these beautiful verses. We don't know what Allah is saying. But the Arab world, more than 100 million of you, you understand what Allah is saying, what He is crying about. And it doesn't move anybody. This is an amazing situation, amazing thing. If any of you, my brothers, you go home and your mother tells you, he says, you know this guy next door, he was swearing me like this. I won't use the words. You know what the other guy was swearing your mother. Or your wife says, you know this guy next door, you know, he was calling me names. I'm asking, can you eat? Can you sleep? No. What do? You say, I want to go and break his jaw, shut him up for good. And if I'm too weak, I say, I hire a gang, somebody to do the job. Now it might cost me 10,000 dirhams. I'll do the job, shut him up for good. No. That's how much you feel for your mother, your sister, your wife, your daughter. And yet we say that we love Allah more than all these things. And yet when they swear him, they abuse him, what happens? Nothing. Nothing. No reaction. You know why? The spirit is gone out of us. We are the living dead. The living dead. We are on the Siratul Mustaqim, but we are a dead people. We are dead on the right road. The outsider, the enemy, he is on the wrong road, but he's alive. He's alive on the wrong road. We are dead on the right road. So Allah reacts. Allah reacts. The worst swearing you can give me is this. What are we to do? I said, talk to them. Reason with them. I don't say go and break the jaws. I don't say go and shoot them, kill them, cut the throats. No, no, no. Allah says, Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati. Invite all to the ways of thy Lord with wisdom. Wal mawazatil hasanati, and with beautiful preaching. Wajadilhum billati ahsan, and reason with them in the ways that are best and most gracious. And I show you some little ways. I go to the West. I go to England. I go to America. I talk to them. I says, you know, English is a foreign language to me, which it is. It's a foreign language. I acquired this, you know, because they conquered my country, and I went to a British colony, so they taught me English, so I learned English. If the French had conquered my country, I would be speaking French. If the Spanish had conquered my country, I would be speaking Spanish. But you Britishers, you English-speaking people conquered my country, so you taught me to speak English, so I'm speaking English to you. But look, it's a foreign language to me. I want you to help me with your language. You say in your catechism that Jesus is the only begotten Son. Begotten, not made. I say, will you please explain to me what you are trying to emphasize? You are trying to tell me something special. See, I can call any young man here my son, and I'm sure you won't mind, the child won't mind it, nor will the father and the mother mind it, calling your child my son. But if some person, not knowing our relationship, wants to know, is he really your son? So then I have to tell you, no, you see, this young man, I like this little child, he reminds me of my son at home, my grandchild at home, so I call him my son. And he loves me like a father, like a grandfather, like an old uncle, so he calls me uncle, or he calls me grandpa, whatever. That is a relationship. But instead, if I said, yes, he is my begotten son, you know what I'm saying? What I'm insinuating? Horrible. I'm insinuating that the child is illegitimate. He is not his father's son, he's mine. I'm responsible for his birth. The worst swearing I can give him is that. If you know the meaning. So I just want to know what you are trying to emphasize. That's all. What you're trying to tell me. Please explain. And wallah, I tell you, you won't come across an English-speaking person who will explain to you. There's no harder blow you can give him than to plead with him, please explain, what are you trying to tell me? What do you mean when you say begotten, not made? What are you trying to tell me? How did it come about? Tell me. The nearest, in all my experience, the nearest to an explanation came from an American. See, the American is very militant. Now he is. We must give him credit. He is a fighter. And a fighter is good material. He is the best material to deal with. Not diplomats, beating around the bush and cutting favor with you and patting you on the back. Hypocrites. No, no, no. Let's have a straightforward, a fight, an intellectual battle. And the American is good for that. He's a man. So an American, I had him, with some people as visitors to the masjid. I happen to be one of the guides to the largest mosque in the southern hemisphere in my town, in Durban. And while I was guiding him, this subject cropped up, and I asked him this question, because I was asking everybody, nobody answers it. I'm asking him, this American. I said, what do you mean? He says, when you say begotten, not made, will you please explain? He said, yes, it means sired by God. So what? He said, no, I don't mean that, but you asked me what it means, I'm telling you what it means.